Hey, what's up? This is going to be part four of my anime data and statistics uh, video series. So right here, I have my document. Where is? Oh yeah, there it is. So this is my Word document. So this time I'm going to talk about the members. Like, what does that mean? So score for my score. You already talked about how scores work. From 1 to 10, and this is the distribution for scores. So this is one way to rate anime. It's based on how good people think it is. This is generally how people prefer to rank anime. Now there's also popularity. So popularity is going to be based on members in MyAnimeList. So let me explain how that works. Well, if you click any anime, if you go, let's go to the most popular anime. So most popular anime, it's not going to be based on the score. It's going to be based on the number of members. How many people are interested? So number one is Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan. So if you look at the rank, it's 108, which is still good, but the popularity is number one. So there are 3.5 million members for Attack on Titan. So this is anybody that has shown interest in the anime. You don't necessarily have to vote. You just have to show interest. So, like, if you look at the voters, if you look right below the score, it's kind of small. It says users. It's about 2.5 million. What's the difference? So, there's 3.5 million people that have shown interest in the anime, but only about 2.5 million have actually voted. So, there's actually right here, it's really small, right below the score. You can see where it says users. That's how many people voted. So, there's 2.5 million people that voted, and the average score came out as 8.53. Now, if you look at, let's see, where do I want to go? Go to stats. If you look at, you see how many, it says watching, completed, on hold, dropped, plan to watch, and then that's the total. So if you show interest in the anime, you show up as a member. So even if you put the anime on hold, or if you drop it, even if you drop the anime, there's 55,000 people that have dropped Attack on Titan, they still count as part of the 3.5 million. Now, it's a really small number, but if you drop it, you still count that number. And even the number of people that say plan to watch, there's 150,000 people that have said they plan to watch it. They still count in that 3.5 million. So it's not a perfect statistic. If you look at completed, there's 3.1 million people that have completed it. Most people out of the 3.5 million, have finished it. Yeah, but you can't always look at completion because then you got One Piece, and One Piece you can't say that you completed, although they'll still let you. Actually, yeah, this is probably a bit of a glitch in the system. But if you look at, let's say, if you look at like One Piece, I just thought I'd go over this really quickly. It's interesting, but if you go to stats for One Piece, 32 people. Wow, it's only 32. 32 people marked One Piece as completed, which is wrong. You can't complete. I'm actually surprised it's only 32 people that marked One Piece as completed, because it could have been a lot more than this. But anyway, you can't. I mean, obviously One Piece isn't over, but the system still lets you put completed, even though obviously it's impossible. Most people, it's watching, obviously, for One Piece, because One Piece isn't finished. So anyway, so that's how members works. Uh, so the members number includes everybody. So it's a rank of popularity. So I thought it's a pretty interesting way to rank anime. So you have the score, you have popularity. I generally like the popularity ranking. Um, the anime that are high in popularity, these are anime you've heard of, even if they're not the best anime, like maybe Sword Art Online. You've heard of it. It's number five. It's number five for a reason. So you're going to get an anime that people have heard of and people enjoy. So that's what popularity is based off. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about here. That's what this very last slide is. The very last page is the number of members. So there's about 23,000 here total. So it's about the same. Everything unranked anime, everything. So there's three anime with over 3 million. In fact, those are Attack on Titan, Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist. One Punch Man is getting very close. So, by the way, this data is from early November. So by the time this video comes out, it might be a little bit out of date, but these numbers should be mostly about the same. So three members here. There's about 20 anime that are between 2 and 3 million. 104 between 1 and 2. Once you get to the 500,000 to a million range, It's about 250. So as you can see, each category gets a lot bigger. And from 250 up to about 500,000 here, you have about 450 anime. Now, once you get to 100,000, 249, 991. Now here is where it starts to slow down. Each category stops getting much bigger, and there's more uniformity, actually, at this point. So once you get to the 100,000, this is like either older anime or anime that's like not as popular. Older anime, even if it's good, tends to have less members just because there's less people that know about it. It's usually the newer anime that end up higher on the charts. There are, there's still anime like Full Metal Alchemist and Death Note that are relatively old that are really high up on the popularity rankings. So then you have almost 1,000 here. So this is just in that group, 100,000 to 249,500. And then, so every group from here on, I kind of cut it in half. So you got 500, 250, 100,000, 50,000, 25,000, 10,000. So it's not exactly half. It's either 2 or 2.5. I tried to pick nice numbers, ones easy to look at for my groups. But I'm kind of surprised about the uniformity. For about the 50,000, 100,000 category right here, it's still 900, just like here. This group gets a little bit bigger. Then the 10,000 to 25,000 category, it gets a lot bigger. It's at 1,800, so it grows. And this is where anime you might actually watch starts here. So anime, if we're talking about full-length anime, not like some random special, but if an anime has less than 10,000 members on MyAnimeList, it's probably not an anime you've heard of. Like that's just how it is. If it doesn't even have 10,000 people on MyAnimeList, it's probably a bit obscure. You've probably not heard of it, or you probably won't want to watch it. So anything below this line is probably obscure stuff you don't want to watch. What's interesting though, so this is the top 25%. So it's only like the top 25% of the entries in MyAnimeList that are probably worth watching. Like, let me just give you an example of an anime that's in this category here. So I'm going to pick an anime that I think is a really good example of this. It's the Star Ocean anime. Right here, the Star Ocean anime. So yeah, 12,000. Now, when I added this entry, it had about 10,000 members. Now it's at about 12,000. So the popularity is 5,309. Score is not that great. Rank is about 6,000. This seems really bad, right? 5,000 popularities, rank 6,000. This is about as low as you go. If you go any lower than this, it's probably stuff you really don't want to watch. Like, this is already really obscure. Like, how many people have heard of the Star Ocean anime? Back in 2001, it's like a 20-year-old anime. And even then, if the score is lower than this and it's less popular than this, then it's getting really obscure at that point. This is a semi-obscure anime. And even this anime, Star Ocean EX, this popularity ranking, this still puts it in the top 25% of all anime entries. This anime that's rather obscure, this is the top 25%. So that just shows you that 75% of all the entries in MyAnimeList, stuff you will have a hard time finding online. It's really obscure stuff. So I just think this is a really good, example of kind of like that bottom tier anime you might actually still watch. So yeah. So anything below it, probably stuff you've never heard of. So 5,000. So anything between 5 and 10,000 members. There's a little less than 2,000 anime in that group. So I'm just kind of surprised that there's this many. And also about the uniformity. Like, each of these member groups here, they're about the same. Like, there's almost 2,000 anime here, almost 2,000 here, almost 2,000 here. The 1,000 to 2,500 group, this is getting really obscure at this point, by the way. 2,500, so it gets a little bigger, but I'm just kind of surprised at how that works. Like, I know I didn't make the categories cut in half every time, but I'm still really surprised at how uniform every group is. Like, it is really uniform. So there's a lot of clustering down here. The groups aren't getting bigger. They just kind of end up being like this. So I think, what is the median? So this is like the 25th percent. This is the top 25% right here. at the Star Ocean level here. Once you get down to about 1,000, this level, if you include these anime and above it, that's the halfway point. This is the median. The median anime probably has maybe a little over 1,000 members. That, like, seriously, the median anime. So that's the 50th percentile is about 1,000, maybe 1,500 at best, which is interesting because then you have the top with like 3 million. So it just really shows you a comparison here. So you have like this is like half of all entries are going to be below here. This is like the bottom half right here. So you have 2,500 in this group. Now at this point, once you get to the 500 range, 500 to 1,000 members, some of the anime aren't even ranked. To have a rank, you need to have 100 votes. 100 votes. So just because there's 500 members doesn't mean that there's going to be 100 people that voted, because not everybody that shows interest ends up voting. You need 100 people voting. So usually that means about 300 or 400 members. But some of the ones in this category end up being unranked. So they don't even have a rank anymore. So you have a lot of anime that are unranked. Once you get to 250 to 49, there's a lot of them that are unranked. Once you get down to the 100 to 250 member range, then at this point, almost everything's unranked. And then if it's below 100, it's absolutely going to be unranked. And what's still interesting is how the groups end up being relatively equal. And then here you have the biggest group, which is with 2,800 anime that are between 250 and 499 members. And then, so this is, you have a lot of clustering. This is like a third of all the anime is in this 100 to 1,000 member range, like right here. And then so these are the biggest groups right here of anime. Now, once you get below 100, the groups get a lot smaller. So generally, anime, even the obscure ones, end up with at least 100. It's usually the really new stuff. It just got released and it's obscure. When it's like really this low, so these groups have about 1,000 each, from the 50 to 99 to 25 to 49, from 10 to 24. They're all about the same. They have about 1,000 each. And then I just left this in, just kind of funny as a joke. But you have like the 1 to 9 members. So this is like from 1 to 9 people. It's 7, and then 0 members, there are 12, because these are new entries. Like there's literally new entries every day. So the stuff that's below 10 members, that's usually stuff that like literally got added that day. So these categories are going to be really small. Anything in this range generally bumps up to the 10 or more relatively quickly. Like they're not going to stay down here. They're going to bump up to at least 10 whenever there's like a new entry. But it could be some really obscure Chinese commercial or something with 0 members. So anyway, so you can find these, and if you want, you could be like the first person to add it. But the thing is, a lot of stuff that's down here, like if it's below 100 members, anything down here, you might not find it. Like I'll go into the forums and I'll try to find these videos sometimes, and you can't always find them. Like you really can't. Some of them are just missing. They're missing media. If it's below 1,000 members, you might have trouble. I've like there's stuff that's in the few thousand range of members, like 3,000 or 4,000 members, that I couldn't find. Like it just doesn't exist. So the stuff that's literally bottom tier, below 100 members, like you're just not going to find it. And some people say they watched it, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're lying that they watched it, because it's stuff like you literally can't find. Someone adds the entry, but is it something you can even find online? And it's some people torrent it. Usually you have to find this really obscure stuff through torrents or something, which I'm not going to do. But yeah, it's usually like a YouTube video. It'll be some ramen commercial that's like 15 seconds. So anyway, I think I said a lot here, 23,000. So I'm going to do a video on like obscure anime at some point. But yeah, I think I've said enough. So that's it. See you next time.